about writing your memoirs. I ran into a potential author client this morning, and she began to ask questions about how to begin writing. Like, what are some of the things that should be considered, because she knows her story. She lived the story. She knows the story. She lives the story, but she wanted to know how to craft the characters. So I'm gonna start just a short series about how to get you guys started with writing your memoirs. Now, I would say to you, for those of you who have, like you, some of you may be serial authors and you can write all types of books, write all types of genres or what have you. But most anybody can write your own life story because it's your life story. And so you just need to know the art around it, the technology surrounding crafting, the place, the who's, the what, the whens, and the where. That's kind of what you need to know. So I'm going to start out with this series talking about writing memoirs, and I'm going to give you some tips, and it's going to be some pre-work. For those of you that feel like you need to tell your story, you got to tell your story, someone needs to hear your story, then I'm going to help you start to do the pre-work. This is what you can do before you actually start laying pen to paper and to begin writing your story. So one of the first things in terms of a memoir, you're going to be talking about people. Even though it's your story, you've got folks involved in that. And so I talked to you in an earlier message about how you want, within the first couple of pages, your reader is going to determine whether they want to spend the next hour reading your book or if they're going to chunk it and pick up something else, right? So it's going to be very important that you capture your reader's attention in those first few pages. So you're going to have to build your character's personality. That means you, if you're the main character in your memoir, or who the other characters are, family members, work members, church members, community members. You're going to have to build character, because guess what? No one knows your people. You know them. You grew up with them, or you had these personal experiences and interactions, but no one else knows that. Your reader doesn't know that. Me, the one doing the work in your book, I don't know that. So you're going to have to put that work in. So here's a couple of things that you can do to begin the pre-work surrounding building your character's personality. All right. You want to have well-developed characters. And then in the development of your characters, you want to strongly narrate them. In other words, give them something to say, give them something to do. Don't just mention them one time in the story and then we never hear about them again. So you're going to give Auntie Jane a personality. She's got a certain type of clothes that she likes to wear. She's got these quirks where she pulls on her earlobes when she's lying. She likes fried chicken with mustard. She works at the Family Dollar. Give her, or who, I'm just using this as a fictitious example, but you want to list all of the characters, including yourself, and begin to work on their resume, begin to work on that development. And you want to answer the who, what, when, where, and how. All of that about just that one character. So if you've got multiple characters, guess what, friend? Then you're going to have to do that work for each of those characters. And that's going to enhance the quality of the book, and it's going to provide a meaningful and rich experience for your reader. And then when you come up with your next book, guess what? You won't have any problems selling that second book or third book to your dedicated, loyal fan base. So you want to develop the characters, give them strong narratives, strong conversations, strong personalities, right? And so here's how you do that. You may say, okay, I just have no idea. I just know Auntie Jane talks trash at the family reunion. Okay, that's wonderful. But now if you're writing this, even though it's nonfiction, it's your story, there's still an element of fictions, that you want to add to it, because you're going to protect their identity. So here's how you can do that. Begin to people watch. I love to people watch. In the airport, at the playground, you can sit in your car at Walmart. And it is a very enriching and very budget-friendly way to learn how to study human behavior. For example, if in your book you're talking about a mom and a dad, or a mom and a son, guess what? In that parking lot at Walmart, you're going to see a mom and her son interacting, depending on whatever grade, age that they are. And you can kind of jot some notes. Mom was walking ahead of the little boy dropped his pacifier or what have you, and you build that in. Even if, again, your book is nonfiction, it's your memoir, it's your story. But again, in terms of that character that you're developing, you want to use your creativity to the utmost. And you're going to have to borrow. As a pastor, I like to say borrow vessels, right? You want to borrow. So you're going to do some observations. You're going to note their little quirky ways about them, because most people have a little quirky way about them. You know, they just do little things that is so unique to just them. Borrow that and add that to your character's development. What habits do they have? Are they a smoker? Are they a drinker? Do they put hot sauce on everything? That's something you can add, right? What about speech patterns? I have a slight lisp. So you may say, you know, Miss Jane, sometimes when she gets upset, she speaks so fast with that lisp, nobody knows what she's saying. And again, it's your story, but you're adding to the development of this character. And you're giving her, listen, and you're going to give that character vibes. Like either your character is going to really, really love that character, or they're going to really, really hate that character, or they're going to feel like this character has like what is their purpose in this person's life? So, but you have to do that because, again, you're introducing your reader to this person who was a part of your world, a part of your life. So spend time in public places, the park, restaurants, and just people watch, which is something I love to do. Do some dialogue crafting. This is so important because if you're going to build a conversation that you're having with someone, write that out and then read it out loud. And then maybe have someone else read it so you can kind of determine, is it too wordy? Does it sound more natural? Writing it is one thing, but reading it is going to be something different. And remember, your readers are reading it. You're writing it from your perspective, but they're reading it from their own perspective, trying to learn from your experience. So there may be some narratives of your story you may have to actually type out or write out and have someone else read it to you, and then you sit and record it, if you know, let them know I'm recording it so that you can listen to see, okay, does that really sound authentic and natural, or does it sound too wordy? Okay, because we don't necessarily write like we talk. So practice that, record it if possible. And then 3 things that I'm going to leave with you in terms of creating depth of character. Remember I said Auntie Jane smokes cigarettes. She pulls on her earlobe when she's lying to you. She loves hot sauce. She walks with a limp. And when she gets upset, she talks real fast with a lisp, right? So I'm creating dimensions, like a 3D dimension of her character. So we're going to give this character traits. Okay, what makes Auntie Jane unique, or Uncle Leroy, what makes him unique? Uncle Leroy wears his cologne. Everywhere you go, he wears this cologne, right? My grandfather used to wear Old Spice. Everywhere I go, I'm reminded of my grandfather when I smell Old Spice. So in terms of the 3 dimensions of character, it is the trait of your character, the flaws of your character, and the motivations of your character. Traits, flaws, motivation, TFM. So what are the traits? What makes them unique? Do they have a smell? Do they have a certain way they walk? You know, the kind of quirkiness about them? That's the trait. What about the flaws? What makes that person vulnerable or weak? So if I'm writing about Auntie Jane, one of Auntie Jane's vulnerabilities is she can't stand for anyone to slam the door, right? So in the story, what would be a trigger for Auntie Jane is if you walk out the door and slam the door. What is Auntie Jane going to say? Stop slamming the door, right? So you want to develop a weakness or vulnerability because each of us have flaws, okay? So even your characters, you're going to have to give them a flaw if you know, give them a flaw. And then lastly, what are the motivations? What drives your character? What drives you? And you want to build that in. Auntie Jane is a smoker. She loves hot sauce on everything. She hates it when the door is shut. And when she fusses and she talks fast, we can hear the list. But one thing about Auntie Jane, she believes in the power of prayer. Right? So in all of that, you're going to acknowledge the weakness. You're going to give the person a character trait, but you're also going to share with your readers what motive. Everybody has a motivator. You know, you may or may not agree with it. You know, money may be a motivator. Having sex with somebody may be a motivator. Tearing up somebody's home may be a motivator. Or empowering people. Like, everybody has a motivator. And so you want to be able to identify your character's motivator. All right. And so that's part 1 of how to build your character personality. I hope that was helpful. Give me some comments, some feedback, and let me know how that's working for you. All right. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.